Well, I mean, frankly, it was brutal. It's brutal for the entire world. It's brutal for Americans, and it's brutal for healthcare workers. We had to shut down an ambulatory operation that sees 2.5 million people a year, visits a year, within literally 72 to 96 hours.
And we were actively engaged in recruiting new doctors to handle the work that we couldn't, that was a lot. And then within a day, it became full stop.
But we went from maybe doing, in these two centers that are next to each other, 500 cases a week to 15 cases a week at one point.
One of the physicians that was first diagnosed, or people that was first diagnosed with COVID in Bridgeport Hospital, was a New Rochelle physician, a physician that lived in New Rochelle but practiced in Bridgeport, who unfortunately has since passed. He's a pulmonologist.
Yeah, well, it's, we say it's been a very long year, a very unusual year. February had 29 days, and then March had 300. It certainly felt like that. It's hard to believe that just a little bit more than 4 months ago, we were in a totally different world.
And as the number of cases was mounting, there really was an effort to, convert the hospital, increase its ICU capacity, and turn the majority of the units into COVID units.
So we use this time to absorb, assimilate, increase capacity, and make our practices so super efficient that technology is not a barrier. Technology really becomes a facilitator.
I know we were talking about, Seema Verma said that genie out the bottle. Yes, but what happens after the COVID-19 is over? Are they going to continue within that?
The COVID is, of course, a setback, but just a blip in the road, which actually may accelerate private equity afterwards.
We're not going to be able to fight, the Humanas, the CVSs, the Aetnas, the Optums in terms of routine primary care.
Looking at sometimes, the small incremental things that you can add to your practice that are going to make you more stable, as we weather through this storm.
George Floyd aside, I think COVID really increased our awareness of just how much healthcare disparities can affect health outcomes.
I mean, it's the whole concept of disruptive innovation, right? It's the whole concept. You need something disruptive to change. You can't say, if you want to change the health system, this is my philosophy. And one of the reasons we did what we did is you have to be disruptive. You can't say, oh, how can we use the current system to change? Because the current system is a monster.
How can I put it? There are naysayers out there, or there are people who are slower adopters and seem to some degree to feel threatened, or rather that they don't need to pivot their practice quickly to involve technology such as AI. And we do need to get physician acceptance, physician familiarity with AI, so that we can feel comfortable and pass on that message to our patients, right?
The needs of patients are not the exact same. Different patients have different needs, and we need to meet them at that need.
I think that the future of medicine, gastroenterology, is to reclaim our role in society and with individuals as healers.
You have to think beyond the one-on-one intervention that's limited in the scope of time or place. You have to live with the patient in their lives, not in your office.
And for us, it wasn't about the transaction. We tell everybody, this is not about the transaction. This is about the strategy. This is about, what do you want to be in 2030?
Mm-hmm. So this is going to be pretty stiff headwinds for many years to come.
So to me, we're just beginning. In using a baseball analogy, we're probably at about the third inning of gastrointestinal PE-based investments. We're not in the eighth inning. We're clearly in the third innings.
Everyone has a choice. all the practices have a choice, and they need to figure out what it is they want to achieve.
And we all want to do something. We all want to make it better.
It's basically like running a house. You look at every aspect of what you're doing on a day-to-day basis.
The hope is that we'll move away from the complexity of silo management and reduce complexity and allow us to connect with people, which is comprehensive care and what needs to happen, and it needs to be rewarded.
So if something happens to that colonoscopy procedure, the other revenue streams fall off too. And it's vulnerable. It's a significant vulnerability.
So I think, if you know how to utilize the technology, is going to improve your performance and keep it stable. I don't think AI is going to replace the need for gastroenterologists and endoscopists to perform colonoscopy, not at all.
This crisis will pass sooner or later, and we need to be ready when we will be there.
I think this is going to be a watershed moment for medicine as a whole with respect to digitization and gastroenterology specifically.
The one thing I can tell you I'm doing exactly what I want to do at this stage of my life. And that has value.